discussion where a well-crafted policy, they say, is only as good as its implementation. Well, in line with this, the federal government has inaugurated a 10-man interministerial committee to ensure that states comply with the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. Well, the committee members include the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and the Accountant General of the Federation. Tunde, let me come to you on this because, yes, finally you talked about local government autonomy, and yes, that is something that we should be looking at. And this is something the federal government hopes to implement following the Supreme Court's ruling. But how true now can local government autonomy be achieved, without state interference, as it were?
Well, I think in a normal situation, there's no need for this kind of committee. Why? If we are law-abiding citizens of the country. Any pronouncement of the Supreme Court is law in any civilized country. They have made their pronouncement that funds that are meant for local government should be sent directly to local governments.
Right.
Now that we now have to raise up a committee, I could remember during the tenure of the president when he was governor of Lagos State. After he has won the right to create the SCDAs and the then president Obasanjo seized the fund, the Supreme Court gave a ruling and they asked him, why is it that they have not released funds for Lagos State? He said he's not aware. People now ask that, was the judgment delivered in German or French? Even if it was in a foreign language, you have people who can interpret it for you. We refuse to adhere to the rule of law. It's about the rule of law. So naturally, yes, I commend the president for doing that, but it's something that you should not have done in the first instance because there was a judgment. Any governor, and why the governors are behaving like this is because they have immunity. They have immunity. They believe they can flout laws. But what I want to just tell the 36 state governors is that if you refuse to allow local governments to work, one day you will be held accountable for the failure of the system. Because the head of the 774 local governments in Nigeria, the head of those local governments, the head of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if those local governments lack funds, if they cannot move, then state government cannot be said to be functional. You see, sometimes ago, about 6 months ago, there was an allegation that a governor even claimed openly that he was awarding contract on behalf of the local government. What business do you have for awarding contract? I could remember in the late 80s, even when the military was in power, each of the local governments, at least I was in Oguze for 5 years, practicing as a journalist, they would address press conference, each local government chairman, about their program for their people, based on the budget, under military government, not even civilian government. So let the local government have their own. We should, this committee, there's no need for it. But because Nigeria is an abnormal situation, yes, it's abnormal situation, they should make sure that, because there's a way in which governors can twist the local government chairman not to release more for them. But I like the charge of the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, who said that local government chairmen should remember that they have no immunity. If you refuse, or if you give the money given to you to your governor, one day somebody will ask you to come and account for that money. Yes. Because we have no business with poverty at all.
Right.
It shouldn't have. So this committee, thank God that the president has done it, but it is unfortunate that it is a reflection of the kind of people we are. After his Supreme Court has given judgment, you now have to set up a committee to enforce, as if we are in military rule. I think people should have respect for rule of law in Nigeria.
And talking about respect for rule of law, BK, what legislative measures now would I say, or would you propose rather, to ensure transparency, proper monitoring of local government funds, so to speak?
I want to see the non-governmental organizations get involved. What we see a lot of our NGOs doing is collecting money from politicians and sometimes organizing fake protests for politicians who have paid them. Because some of the issues that you sometimes see them carry on their heads, you just wonder what has gone on with these people. Those are issues that shouldn't bother them. Issues around transparency, that is what they should bother themselves about. Right. Not some politicians quarreling, and then you gather some people, they will now carry placards to say, oh, one non-governmental organization is saying this is what government should have done. No, that is overreaching yourself in the most ridiculous way.
Right.
They have to put their eyes now on the funds of local governments. Ensure that now that these guys are going to have access to a tremendous chunk of funds that they never had access to before, those funds have to be used judiciously and for the good of our people. This is not an opportunity for a local government chairman to become far richer than necessary, to the point that he will now be taking multiple wives. So there are some of our people, the way to know that their levels have changed is to find out how many wives they now have. For some people, once they become a little bit richer than their previous situation, they are going to get a second wife. For them, adding wives is a status symbol. I'm not against polygamy. But what I'm saying is, using public funds to acquire wives should not be tolerated. But if we drop the ball, if we all refuse to be vigilant, honestly, this will be like a case of from fry pan to fire. It will get a lot worse because people who have not been used to seeing big funds, when they see it, you can even turn their heads. They will now be misusing funds anyhow. If you are saying, governor, don't get involved and all that. I know that governors too had overreached themselves over the years with council funds.
But what kind of strategy do you think we can, apply here to prevent local governments from going that route?
It is the structures that will promote and encourage vigilance must be put in place. What are the anti-corruption agencies doing, for example? They should, at this time now, they should know that, yes, with this decision of the Supreme Court, corruption may go a notch higher at the local government level.
Right.
So they have to be vigilant, make examples of local government chairmen caught with their fingers in the till. They have to make examples of them. If we do that consistently, they will sit up. They will know that, look, this is no longer business as usual. If I tamper with funds, I will go to jail. The problem is that our judicial system is too whimsical. And because it's so whimsical, a lot of people get away with blue murder. Or their cases go on and on and on and on until everybody gets tired. That's not what we want to see.
Right.
But I believe that NGOs, for example, NGOs, civil society groups, they should get a lot more involved. That is how we can bring development to the grassroots level. That's how we can allow our people, the majority of our people, to feel the impact of government. Because government, the impact of government is not felt at the local government level, at the grassroots level. A lot of people do not feel. You drive through some communities, no road, no lights, nothing. No form of civilization at all. I've been to some places that I wonder. There was a time I went to do a story about a community in Kankara local government area of Katsina State. My God. A road that normally shouldn't, a distance that normally should take just 15 to 20 minutes. We were on it for more than 2 hours because it was in such a deplorable state. You wonder, how do some people use that road every day? No light, nothing. And when Boko Haram or any of these terrorist groups strike, they have no network. They have no means of raising an alarm. That was what happened in that last attack in Kaduna. That was what happened. The chief of defense staff even told me that they didn't get information until the next day because they could not communicate. And the nearest military facility is more than 40 kilometers away. They could not communicate. They could not use phone, no network, nothing. I'm sure there is no base station at all in that area. So how do you then reach people?
In case of emergency.
But now with local governments having access to greater funds and being put in charge of their funds, rather than the overbearing governors dictating how much a local government chairman gets, you are dictating what a local government chairman gets on money that does not belong to you. You are the one sitting and presiding over a sharing of money that does not belong to you, all in the name of joint account. And you know, the Supreme Court, the judgment was quite clear that the so-called joint account had been abused over the years, because you can't look into a governor's eye or eyes. It will make sure that you are removed. Governors suspend chairmen.
Yes.
Whereas the Supreme Court had ruled in the past that you cannot remove a local government chairman that was duly elected. Well, governors will still go ahead and do it. If you fight a governor as a local government chairman or you challenge him, he's going to deal with you.